Hi, this is Heather Langenkamp from A Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil, and I'm joined by Barbara Magnolfi.
Hi.
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 I hope I got that. Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So,
you got it.
excellent. I am half Italian, so maybe that helps.
Oh, well, for sure. You got it in your blood, see?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, let me know, first of all, you're going to be at Texas Frightmare Weekend, as well as I will be, May 5th through 7th in Texas. And they're having a Suspiria reunion. And how did you get involved in Suspiria when it was being made?
Oh, my goodness. Yes, first of all, yeah, I'm stoked that we're going to all be at Texas Frightmare.
Yeah.
You know? And I'm so happy that we could, do a Suspiria reunion.
Yeah.
As the 40th anniversary. So, Suspiria, well, let's see. I was like up and coming, actress. I just finished shooting a movie at the time. And I was contacted by my agent, so I had to go. I remember I was out of town, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my agent called me. It's like, oh my God, you got to come back right away. Dario Argento wants to see you. And so basically, I took a flight back from where I was, and I went to meet Dario in the production company the morning after, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a one-of-a-kind audition and meeting, I must say, right? And he basically gave me this big script, very thick script, like, must have had like, I don't know, 200 pages, right? And that said Suspiria. And he says, okay, just look up the role of Olga. And I said, okay. So I looked it up, and we were sitting one across the other, on two chairs. And so I didn't read aloud. I just read it for myself. And then he asked me questions. He said, so how do you see this character? How do you see her? What would you, how would you see her? And I told him my how I would see this character. I guess he liked it. And, he then put me in the middle of the room. And he asked me to move a certain way because basically I had to be a dancer, at the last year of the dance academy. So more skilled, than others. So I moved. I did a couple of moves, and he was turning around me as if he was holding a camera. He was looking at me through
like the lens.
Through like the lens, but not right. And then he got really excited. He got really excited. He said, "Okay, great," and he let me go, and I'm like, "Okay, well, that was." Weird, but I kind of liked it. It was like unlike any other meeting or audition I had done. So, and I got the role. And it's fair to say that Dario and I became really good friends, from the beginning. I guess we were on the same page on several things. So that's how I got involved. Yeah.
Yeah. When you said he asked you how you would play Olga, what was your answer? What were the things like you added to the character?
I think pretty much I added everything. I mean, I added, obviously what he agreed as well, right? But I think I don't quite remember. Yeah, I think I told him at the time, right? It's a long time ago, but
sure.
I said that I was like terrified, but I went with my guts. Basically, I said, wow, she's pretty much like a very cheeky, like I would play her like that. And I remember associating Olga like a big cat, like a the movement of a feline, of a cat.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, that was it, right? Or a panther. Somebody. It was kind of strange because really, I'm a witch, and you should not understand that, right? But it kind of needs to come across as well. So basically, I interpreted this character as some wild animal. You know what I'm saying? As well as a childish, cheeky one, right? Ready to go for the prey, the new prey, for the weeks,
Yeah.
So that's how I channeled that character,
And since you mentioned cats, because I've had cats my whole life, when they actually prey on a mouse or a bird, whatever, not only do they are seeking to grab, but they're also very playful with it. So I can definitely see the cat, as you mentioned, in the role.
Yeah, exactly, and also the kind of hissing, like when I say, Susie, that's also part of the, the cats, when they go like that, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So that was no suggestions from Dario on that. That was all my interpretation, right? And even with the movements and the fact that I was a dancer, I had done a lot of ballet. I, very quickly became a lead ballerina, something I liked very much to express myself that way. So that served itself for that role, for sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And with the long black hair, it's kind of like with the witches, it's like you're almost like the embodiment of a black cat.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
And and the green eyes. I mean, everything fit into the character. Yeah.
And you mentioned to play kind of childlike too. Was that something that Dario had brought up?
Yeah. Well, you see, Suspiria was originally. I mean, Dario had the story in mind for kids in an academy of dance. We're talking about barely teenagers. That's how the movie was supposed to be originally, but obviously nobody accepted that, right? It would have been censored all over. And so if you notice in the movie, though, he kept the sets. For instance, the door handles, they weren't at the normal level which you open a door. So it looks very intimidating. It looks much bigger, compared to the person, right? So he kept that feeling, and he wanted to keep that feeling. He wanted to keep the childish, playful, in the Academy of Dance, as if we were younger girls. He wanted to keep that. So if you see the movie, you notice that when we open the door handles, or when Jessica Harper, Susie or Sarah open a door, it's higher up, it's above basically the level of your head, the door handle. So as to keep as if a child was doing it.
Yeah. The movies really has like a dreamlike quality when you're watching it, with all the use of the colors, and it's not quite realistic. And so when you saw the finished movie, what did you think of it, and how different was it than what you envisioned it to be? Once you had all the music and everything.
Well, I was part of the whole process later on, so I got.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I got to see the movie. As I said, Dario and I, we became friends, and we were like long, seeing each other. Like, I was part of afterwards, I would go and visit in the editing room. And so I was there.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I was there when the Goblins and Claudio Simonetti and Dario were there. And so I saw pieces of the movie. I pretty much saw the movie before it actually came out fully, done. And I saw the process. or at least parts of the process in which they decided what the music would be and all that, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun to see that actually, and yeah, and I love the movie. I think the movie is one of a kind. There has never been a movie of this kind done before in Italy, at least, or anywhere, and there hasn't been another one. There's been many copies, people that got ideas from the innovations of, the technicalities and the camera movement that Suspiria had in it. And, but it was one of a kind. I see Suspiria like a bit of a dark fairy tale, a dark. I'm not particularly a fan of horror, by the way, and Suspiria is one of the movies I really do like, and not because I'm in it, but just no, seriously, it's just
right, but it works
because it has this. First of all, Dario is a master at suspense, at the timing in horror is a bit like a timing in comedy. Actually, it has to be perfect to work. You have to build the suspense to a certain point so you could then hit with the with whatever happened, right? If you let it go too fast, it doesn't work, and if it's too late, it doesn't work either. If you show too much, it's not good. But anyway, it's a perfect equilibrium, I think, of it really does the trick. And I love the fact that it's set up in a dance academy, which lends itself as being kind of a fairy tale, kind of a dark thing, with this childlike kind of thing, interpreters of the movie. But I love it. I just love Suspiria. It was, wonderful, wonderful. The colors, were like that because Technicolor, so the primary colors, the three primary colors were used intensely, come out intensely, like the red, the green, and the blue. Yeah. And, I think it was one of the last, they just got in at the last minute. There were no more Technicolor, machines, you know what I'm saying, to process the film, available after that. So
it's when you watch it, especially if you watch it like after the first time, you notice more things, and like anytime there's green in the movie, it's usually like a safe place, and when there's red, it signifies the witches are around or something bad's going to happen.
Absolutely, and they were used that way. It's very well noticed because it is, I think, used that way. Yeah.
And when you were around for after he made the movie and he was you editing it and adding the music and everything, when you're watching that whole process, did you have any interest in ever doing that yourself? Any of the behind the scenes work on a movie?
Most definitely, I've had that interest since I started acting, or so. It's always been an interest of mine to be creating the whole thing, rather than just interpreting one character. I like both, but most definitely that's where it is going right now. That's where it's going in this time now. I'm definitely starting to get behind the scenes more. And I very much like, I think, it's a much more interesting process than just interpreting one character in the movie. Yeah.
So can you talk about that all? Anything, any projects that you're hoping to work on?
Well, can talk much about it, but I'm working on a project right now, which I am, I have a synopsis for. The script is being written, or we're in process of hiring a good writer for it, and it's a it's a giallo genre film, or in other words, police, crime movie, and it has something of how do I put it? It's I can't really talk about it, but anyway, that's what I'm working on, and the tentative title of this is Betoken. And I would play in this movie. I have a role as well. I would play a spiritual investigator. And it's an interesting story, but I don't want to give it up. And
Sure.
And it's just basically in the very beginning process of production. Yeah.
Speaking of that, spiritual investigator and spirit witches and stuff. What are your own beliefs on things like that, the supernatural?
Well, we could talk about that for a long time, but I don't believe particularly in witches, right?
Right.
I do believe. I know for sure. I do believe in. We don't only live one life. I believe in past lives, and I believe I. In if you want to call them ghosts, or people without the spirit without their bodies, right? And I believe also I could. It's possible to communicate with the beings or spirits that are around, and these spirits could be upset, so you get a bad vibe, let's say, right? Or in cases of haunted houses or stuff like that, right? And I've been kind of in a way, I've had that kind of experience and reality for sure, and also with people that in my life that I was close to that died. I've been able to be sort of in a kind of communication with them. So to me, it's not such a being or a spiritual being. That's what it is. That's what we are, right? We live here in this society, and so with a body, right?
Yeah.
But, so I do believe in kind of, but not in a mystic, not in a, not like witches and ghosts. It's like there's no negative or scare in it for me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Was there any particular experience you had that made you believe, or was it something you've always thought about?
Let's just say that I tended to believe that from very early on, because I sort of picked up on energies around me, if you want to say it that way. I'm not sure how to express that, but there have been experiences also that confirm that, for sure. Like, particularly when basically somebody died, someone very close to me, that died, and I wasn't there, and there's been experiences which, most definitely, I have quite a certainty on that not only do we live more than one life, but also I could be in communication. Beings can communicate even without the normal means of communication with, you know what I'm, with words and yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because well, I find it interesting because I just started using a Ouija board recently for the first time. I was a total non-believer, and my friend who I do the show with, Annabelle, who couldn't be here today, she's not like a total believer, but thinks there's something to it. And it was a really interesting experience using the Ouija board because it actually had answers, and it wasn't like real crazy spooky stuff. It was just kind of like if you were just talking to someone, kind of mundane, like just telling us about their life or former life.
Exactly.
So it was interesting.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. Yeah. And without a board either, without a Ouija board. Yeah. Yeah. And it's not like a weird practice. For me, it's like a normal thing. If I want to get in communication with someone, I can.
Do you think? Because I'm from America, but in Italy, is that seen more as like a common belief, or is it how's it seen in Italy? I guess.
Well, I'm
like
not
spirits.
Sure. I am not sure. All I know is that
that's what you believe personally.
What I believe personally,
Yeah.
and also before the actual Bible was altered, that was the belief also in yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm a believe. I believe in that because I've experienced it.
Right.
I've had almost like near death experience, and I know, if you wish, I definitely have certainty on that. Yeah.
Well, I find that very interesting.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, Suspiria was real to me in that way. Yeah, that sort of this place was haunted. Basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you mentioned, your agent said Dario wanted to see you. So this was even before you met him, and you guys had, clicked and had chemistry together. What was it about you? Do you think that made him want to see you? Was it just your look?
Oh, I think. First of all, I was one of the most promising, actors at the time. And I was considered the one that could, switch from, kind of bridge over to US, to Hollywood kind of thing. I was very, had done a few films, and I was like modeling. I was on several billboards, kind of, big posters in Italy for big advertisements, and I was up and coming. I was quite popular. You see a lot of me at the time, and I think I never met Dario before. We actually met in the, but I'm sure he'd seen me around, and I believe the fact that I was a dancer that the fact was known that I was a dancer, right?
Right.
Not professional, but basically that I had done a lot of dance, and my kind of body and my look probably had something to do with it.
Yeah. So how was Suspiria seen by audiences in Italy? What did they think of it? Because if you were known as a model and upcoming, and then you're in this horror movie, how did they feel about it?
I was never a model per se, I was just I was never labeled a model. This is something that came later on from biography that have been written about me, but I was never a model. I did a movie when I was 13. That was my first movie, and I continued on that path. The model thing wasn't so. I mean, there wasn't that. Oh, okay, the model now in a horror movie. It wasn't like that. It was just,
You said you're upcoming actor, so I didn't know if you were in horror movies before Suspiria.
I was in a movie with Sergio Martino. suspicious death of a minor with Mel Ferrer and with Claudio Cassinelli and other people. So another director who is in the genre of
I see.
giallo or crime
Mhm.
or, definitely.
Yeah.
It was a genre that was going on a lot,
Hmm.
at the time, which actually Dario Argento changed into, it became more of a horror genre,
Hmm.
right? But yes,
Yeah.
I had done movies before, for sure.
Hmm. Yeah.
And what was I going to say? Yeah, so it wasn't like, uh, I think it was like kind of a great, that would have happened sooner or later, whether with Dario Argento or somebody else, because definitely I was in a pool of actresses that were amongst the most promising ones. So I think
Hmm.
that, yeah, and the fact that I landed myself to that role, particularly,
Hmm.
I'm sure I don't know who else he saw for that role at the time. I have
Hmm.
no idea, but I think it had a lot to do with it. Yeah, and as I
Yeah.
said, we we had instant affinity for each other. We
Hmm.
I
Like
like,
chemistry,
yeah,
clicked. Yeah.
chemistry, but I don't call it chemistry. But
Hmm.
yeah, basically we thought alike on
Hmm.
some things. I loved the fact that Dario was very, in a way, childlike, which is how I am,
Hmm.
and full of enthusiasm and passion for his vision, and very meticulously. Uh, very meticulous and very much a perfectionist, and he would not let go until he um, saw his vision there. And
Hmm.
I love that about Dario,
Hmm.
definitely. So
Hmm.
we got along. uh,
Yeah.
he also gave me something that was very raw. When he used to come in my sort of dressing room before a scene, right, to make
Yeah.
sure he had an approach that nobody else had. Nobody else um, directed me like Dario did.
Hmm. Well, what do you mean by that?
Dario had a way to, how do I put it? To help you get in the character,
Hmm.
if you needed help, right? Or to, without saying, "Oh, you got to do this and that," right? Had a
Hmm.
way to put you in the character, right?
Yeah.
Without even realizing.
Hmm.
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
One day we're shooting the scene in my apartment, right?
Hmm.
Where, with all the paper behind, the apartment, Olga's apartment.
Hmm.
And I got this flowy dress and stuff, and I was all made up, makeup, blah blah, hair and everything, right? And
Hmm.
Dario comes in my dressing room just a few minutes before we were ready. They were ready on the set, right?
Hmm.
Um, and he looks at me and and then he says, "Who did your makeup?" I said, "What do you mean?" "The makeup artist, right?"
Hmm.
And he said, "Okay." He looks at me and he said, "Is this how Olga would do her makeup?"
Hmm.
I'm like, I I was like, okay, where is he getting at, right? And then I looked
Hmm.
at myself in the mirror, right? And I'm like, of course, getting into Olga now fully, right?
Hmm.
Is Olga going to put her makeup like that or not? And I said,
Hmm.
no, no, she wouldn't. Said, okay, I want you to do your makeup as Olga would do it.
Hmm.
And I said, what do you mean? I mean, the makeup artist said, no, I want you to do your makeup as Olga would do it. I said, okay, fine. So I, fixed up my makeup as if I was Olga. And as I
Hmm.
was doing this, I was totally into character. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I was like, whoa. And so then he came back and he said, okay, we're ready on set. Let's go. And he loved it, right?
Yeah.
And so basically, that's the kind of thing he would do.
Which is very clever because not only, on the surface, it's like you think you're getting the look down, but you're actually becoming that character to put on the makeup. And then
Exactly.
So yeah, it's very interesting. It's a good way to, I have a couple questions here from the Facebook if you have time to answer them.
Yeah.
Michael J. Epstein wants to know what was it like to have every actor speaking different languages on Suspiria?
This is very strange because I never was present when we were speaking different languages. I mean, we were maybe some people was the movie was shot in English, and it was dubbed in Italian and then later on in English. The thing is that maybe there were some people that didn't speak English properly, right? And but in the time that I was there, we all spoke English on set, and I didn't have that experience. I mean, I mean, Stefania Casini spoke perfect English. I spoke English. I don't know where that came from. It's probably that there were different accents and different. It was a bit messy, right? So the sound for the dialogue had to be dubbed in, But every movie was dubbed in Italian anyway. But this one was also dubbed in English. In other words, the voiceover was made after the movie, for the dialogues.
Yeah, I gotcha. And Lloyd Duff wants to know, was Olga ever supposed to be in more scenes?
Yes, definitely. Olga was supposed to be in a couple more scenes. Yeah, one of which was the ballet. The ballet, the final ballet where everybody goes at the end, right? And that's the time where Jessica Harper follows the steps and discovers the thing, right?
Yep.
I was supposed, since I played the lead, sort of the ballerina at the last year and of the dance academy, that's why I was living outside the academy and all that, right? It was only natural that you could see me at the end leading the ballet, the Bolshoi ballet that they all go to see, right? However, Dario decided at the end that we weren't going to shoot that because it was taken away from the suspense. In other words, we wanted to leave it in the mystery, right? About my character. So... and he didn't want to show much of the ballet either. I don't know I believe it was a matter of the not interrupting the suspense at the end. Yeah. But yes, it was supposed to be more scenes.
Yeah. Interesting. So again, you can see Barbara here in person, Texas Frightmare Weekend. May 5th through 7th, and I'm looking forward to it. I was at Texas a couple years ago for Frightmare. I was supposed to be last year, but I got very sick and couldn't go, and so I'm looking forward to this year. Have you ever been to Texas before?
No, no, it's my first time. Yeah.
Oh, very cool. It's very big.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. Yeah.
And there's good barbecue in Texas. I don't know if you're into barbecue, but there's good food in Texas.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to experience that.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in and talking to me today.
Okay, it's my pleasure.
Excellent. It's been very fun. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll see you in Texas then.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
This is Gary J. Tunnicliffe, makeup effects artist, and you are listening to withoutyourhead.com.